Recording in progress.
Begin here. All right, good morning and welcome to Why You Need AI for Decision Making for Business Strategies and Applications with Wharton Online from the University of Pennsylvania Wharton School. And my name is Stuart Creek. I am with Simplilearn. We are the delivery partner for Wharton for this program. I will be taking you through the program today, but I will also be sharing with you words from Don Huseman, Chairman Emeritus of Wharton Online. And we'll be asking a few questions about you during the process. I'll also be taking you through what this program offers, why it's important, why AI in business is important. And we'll go through how the program works in a little bit, and I'll take some of your questions toward the end, share with you the cost and process for engaging in the programs. Last thing. And I will get started. So Don Huseman is going to be speaking with us, and he is the Managing Director Emeritus for Wharton Online. So let me let you hear from him. And we will bring him online here. And these are some of the recorded remarks from a previous session we did with him.
Sure. Thanks, Stuart. I have been at Wharton for a very long time, actually, in multiple roles. Most recently, I've been the managing director for our online learning initiatives. They started, well, this particular initiative started around 2011 when MOOCs were new and exciting, and the dean and the provost of the University of Pennsylvania asked Wharton to get involved, and the project was handed to me. And so we have been experimenting with the various forms of online education since then. Still have a variety of MOOCs that are done through sort of self-study. And then we've found a lot of luck working with organizations like Simplilearn to bring a more facilitated experience to the world around current topics that are being researched by Wharton faculty. So we have employed about a half of the Wharton standing faculty in various programs of study. And this one in particular brings together, I can't remember if it's 6 or 7 of our research faculty associated with exploring AI and machine learning. So what we're going to talk about today is really about a business look at the field of artificial intelligence and machine learning. Not so much an engineering look, but rather how to make sense of AI as both a resource to manage as a general manager in a business, but also as an opportunity for bringing your organization up the learning curve into what is emerging as a new set of technologies for augmenting our decision-making processes. So that's a brief overview of how I got to the table today. Stuart, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you. And as Don mentioned, he's going to speak about the evolving role of AI in business as a tool to add to the toolkit of organizational managers. So just as a preamble, data drives the economy, as we all know, and the transformation of business to the digital domain has only gotten far faster during the pandemic, where we all instantly had to move to work from home. I remember an executive early in the pandemic who said, if they had told us we needed all to work remotely, we would have told management it would take 6 months and $10 million to do that. And when it happened, it took 3 days with no budget. So we've all had to adapt to a new data-driven world that it was creeping up on us over the last decade or two, but now kind of the environment we all live in. So, Don, how does an organization deal with that metamorphosis?
So what we've been suggesting is that AI is such a fast-moving field that it's important to take kind of a portfolio approach for a larger organization to begin to build capacity inside the organization, both to use data in its structured forms, but to use AI and experiment with AI to explore the vast amount of data that is actually unstructured. So the amount of data that has been um, growing in our organizations, in our data warehouses, is probably 80% now unstructured. And the intelligence in that data is the gold we're looking at the end of the rainbow in terms of trying to use these new technologies to both test the hypotheses that form the basis of our own thinking about our businesses, but also to manage uncertain environments, such as the kinds of circumstances we find ourselves in today. As some of us emerge from COVID, others are slow to emerge from COVID with war and the possibility of recession looming next year. That uncertainty makes our usual decision-making processes more complicated. And whatever we can do to bring data to help us better test our hypotheses and explore our decision options is worth the investment of time for sure, and of money. With that, let me ask Stuart for the next slide. So this slide is from a report originally put together by McKinsey. There's a similar report that TCS in India has also developed, looking at the critical role for someone who stands between an understanding of the business case, of the C-suite issues, of the business models that have been created and launched in our organizations, and the data scientists. So as I mentioned, this course that we've put together around AI for decision making is not an engineering course, not intended to be. It's really intended to provide a general manager, what we're referring to as that central column, your role as someone who knows enough about the tools that are available and the nature of exploring structured and unstructured data, that you can in fact translate the information that is coming out of your data stores and data collection processes into a forecast model or a decision-making model that will help hone decisions that are made at various levels of management inside your organizations. So the idea is to, at the end of this course, to have you in a position to understand enough about the AI technologies and machine learning technologies that are taking shape on the horizon to be able to help C-suite executives and senior management at your organization form questions that those data can in fact help inform. So it's that middle role that we're after and trying to explore by looking at cases of companies who are at the leading edge of working with new models to extract real information out of the loose data, particularly that's found in vast new stores of unstructured data. In that regard, I might mention that in the nature of unstructured data, we have a large collection of data that comes to us through our email stores and voicemail stores, our video stores, our audio stores, the large quantities of data that are generated by analytical processes that run on our websites and that fill out a profile of what customers are doing as they move from exploration to purchase. All of these stores of data are different than what we faced some 20 years ago when we had relational databases and spreadsheets and tabular data that could be organized by rows and columns and that could be used in a more direct way to predict and to drive spreadsheet forecasting models, either those that are based in worlds of uncertainty where we would rely more on scenario planning and sensitivity analysis versus the optimization models that we would turn to should there be a clear set of choices and expected forecasts. So all of that relied in years past on the existence of relational database management systems and other forms of structured data. The new tools that are emerging are intended to provide us a way of mining the data that comes to us in largely unstructured forms. And that's the point of this course. With that, let me ask Stuart for the next slide. So we're going to show you a variety of examples that come from organizations that have successfully used AI and machine learning to develop new sales and marketing strategies. So we'll be looking at the work that has been done by modern marketing organizations to develop personalized recommendation engines and to explore other marketing strategies that are informed by large transactional databases and by large analytical databases of customer behavior that augments our transactional data stores. We'll be looking at finance applications, such as the ability in midstream for an organization that provides e-commerce transactions, for example, an identification of a pattern of behavior by a customer that might suggest that there's fraud at work, and to intervene in the transaction to take further steps to assure the security of a transaction that might look initially suspicious. And we'll look at a third dimension, calling on faculty who are associated with our People Analytics Initiative to examine how, in fact, AI and machine learning can be used to help us with that most critical resource management task we all face, which is dealing with your decisions around hiring, around promotion, and around managing performance. So AI has a strong role to play in that dimension as well. But of course, it is also important to recognize the ethical and security issues that arise whenever we're using technology in the management of people, which is as critical, if not more so, than in the management of our organizations through new sales and marketing and financial processes. And with that,
I was going to ask, I was going to make a quick mention of a webinar that we did with the founder of Zest Money, who's a fintech firm in India, and the reason I bring it up is that that type of fintech firm, which offers microcredit or instant credit to consumers, can only exist because of AI. As you talked about finance and fraud detection and that type of thing, it turns out that the flip side of that is to determine who's a good credit risk from all of that, as you said, unstructured data about a consumer's spending habits and other history. And when a consumer gives permission to Zest Money to mine into that, it can come back and say, these are the types of levels of transactions that we think this person is capable of handling and repaying. And it's an amazing type of environment. So that's another example of how AI in one of these domains has opened up new opportunities for businesses. I just wanted to mention that one, and we'll let you get back
Just
to
to just to build on that, Stuart,
Sure.
one of the realities in even the G20 countries is the problem we face, let's say in the United States, for example, of people who lack FICO credit scores and
That's
therefore
right.
cannot qualify for a prime rate based loan, and this has uh, the deleterious effect of making worse the divide between the haves and the have-nots,
Mm-hmm.
because individuals who might otherwise be entirely credit-worthy don't have the FICO score to get that truck or to buy a house or to build the kind of wealth that translates from one generation into the next.
Right.
Uh, and yet, even though in the United States, at least 40% of households lack FICO scores that would allow for a prime rate-based loan. The truth of the matter is the vast majority of those individuals are in fact creditworthy, and it is as a result of the application of AI and machine learning and other fintech tools that companies have been in a position to underwrite the creditworthiness of an individual facing more traditional financial institutions.
Yep.
This is particularly relevant, of course, even more so in parts of the world where retail banking doesn't have a strong root, where the individuals don't have the common practice of connecting with a local banker at a local branch. It's just in some parts of the world that doesn't happen. But there are vast areas where retail banking isn't even available, and therefore the use of new technology for transaction processing and for managing your financial life becomes more critical.
Yep. And the example of building credit worthiness for people who don't have the traditional credit scores, um, the effect of that for the business is that they get a whole bunch of new customers who expand their revenue stream. So it works for societal benefit, individual consumer benefit, and business benefit all at once. So great. So in order to participate in this revolution, people, especially at the managerial and director level, need to really have an understanding of the field and what it can do for them, right?
Exactly, and that requires a certain technical exposure to the terminology that the data scientists and the IT engineers will be using in building out and developing a portfolio of AI or machine learning projects at your company. So we're hoping that this course is a way for you to level set with an understanding of some fundamental technologies like what constitutes big data, what constitutes AI, how is machine learning conceived of in contemporary projects, both internal to a larger company in your applications development group, but for smaller and mid-sized companies, what might be available on the open market from consultants and other supporting organizations. We're hoping that you'll come away from this course understanding the difference between supervised and unsupervised deep learning and the cases in which both forms of deep learning algorithmic-based information processing is put in play by development organizations. There, as I mentioned, with regards to our concerns regarding HR applications, there are many ethical circumstances and corporate organizational risks that can be associated with AI. Algorithms can be as biased as individuals in decisions around hiring and promotion and performance assessment, and looking into the ways in which AI applications can either introduce and spread bias in an undetected way, or can be, in some circumstances, increasingly murky and not transparent around the processes or the data points that lead to a particular AI recommendation. So all of those are critically important issues for general management to take into consideration. And for those in the nonprofit sector or in the government sector, there are issues associated with governance to sort of guide, set guardrails for the applications development that might be happening in your organization. With that, let me ask Stuart.
And let's move on through the next phase, which is a poll question for you in the audience. I'm asking, what has stopped you from engaging in an AI expertise program like this in the past? Because you haven't found one that covers the type of topics that you feel you'll need as an executive managing AI programs for your organization? Is it because you don't think that you would end up with practical examples that would be able to demonstrate your new skills? Is it because you don't feel comfortable just learning from pre-recorded lectures? Or is it a time constraint? So I'm going to leave this open for another 10 seconds or so. I see the numbers continuing to change a little bit, and we'll close in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the major concerns in our audience today are not feeling that you would get practical examples that you would be able to demonstrate your skills, or the concept, grasp of your concepts, not finding a comprehensive curriculum, and not feeling comfortable learning from pre-recorded videos. With that, I'm going to move into what makes this program different from those problems. So it has a comprehensive curriculum. It will talk to you about the different aspects of AI for decision making in different sectors or horizontals of your company, different applications, online live discussions that supplement the self-paced learning so that you are not relying solely on recorded videos, integrated assignments and quizzes that will help you develop your skills in a demonstrable way and flexible timing. So what I'm going to do is, again, share with you what Don had to say about this program. Just a moment.
One of the things that is a bit different about Wharton programming in online efforts at professional development is we tend to focus on issues that are not settled science. So basically, the Wharton School doesn't present, oh, here's a series of courses in learning how to program in R to accomplish certain kinds of activities. You know, that's settled science. What we do is we draw on, frankly, the top academic minds in the world who are involved with research around questions that are open and that are unsettled. And what we try to do is set a table so that on one side of the table we have the top minds from academia, and on the other side of the table we're hoping to draw the top minds from business practice. That would be the people on this call. And we're of the opinion that it's in the conversation between the two sides of that table that new knowledge emerges to help inform responses to these unanswered questions that are on the table regarding where is AI going. It's moving very fast. The programs of study that we have been involved with even last year is very different from what we're facing this year. A year or two ago, the issue of machine learning through structured application of knowledge experts wasn't at the front burner in terms of work being done in this field. Today, what's on the front burner is actually unstructured machine learning. That is an application of algorithms for improving forecasting capability at a scale and a speed of use of data that actually makes it difficult for human beings to follow. And those issues now are relevant in trying to understand, again, some of those ethical considerations that I pointed to earlier. So it's moving fast. It's changing on a regular basis. This is what excites people who are on the faculty at Wharton, and the opportunity to engage with informed practitioners from around the world, such as we're hoping to convene in this program, is helpful in terms of moving that research agenda forward, but also helpful in trying to fill in some detail around what's really working in this space as we know it today. So the faculty can bring research from the organizations they're currently working with. We're hoping you bring context from your own firm, your own role, your own industry to test what we are suggesting might be possible. So in that regard, we will have lots of online discussions to supplement the self-paced part of the curriculum. We hope to have to expose you to a variety of industries and a variety of examples of how these new technologies are beginning to prove their worth. We will have assignments and quizzes around what we know now regarding the state of the art in AI and machine learning. But the intent here is to provide busy professionals like yourselves or people who might be actively involved with raising a young family a chance to fit a program of study of this type into your busy lifestyle. So we're looking for 3 to 5 hours a week over the course of the next 3 months for you to explore some pre-recorded material that'll set the stage for interaction that happens in the course and other modalities.
Excellent.
I might ask you for the next slide, Stuart.
Sure. Yeah, and the culmination of that 3-month period is the certificate you earn from Wharton Online that certifies that you covered this material, that you engaged in the program actively, and that you've gained understanding of the concepts. So worked with those case studies, and you've also, as Don said, brought your experience to the discussion so that you can then take away from it insights into how AI can be applied in your own organization. The online experience far different from just self-paced MOOCs or massively online open courses that Don referred to before. So it's a entirely different experience, right, Don?
Yes, yeah, and in fact, what we're hoping to do is to open the floor for considerations and examples and questions and applications that you all might have been exposed to complement the consulting engagements and projects that are funded on campus that are driving the work of our AI-oriented research centers. I mentioned earlier we have faculty from the People Analytics Initiative who have joined this course to look at the applications of AI to decisions around matters associated with human resource management. We have also faculty from our Customer Analytics Initiative who will be looking at the new ways that companies are using unstructured data to inform marketing-related decisions. And as I mentioned earlier, we have faculty from our Stevens Center for Innovation in Finance to talk to the issues associated with new applications of AI machine learning for financial services. I might take a second to answer Conrad's question here, who posted in the Q&A the question, if the class is designed for management level, then there's no need to learn the details of practical exposure. But if the class is designed for the working level, then hand-on practices are needed. Which one is this? So I would challenge your assumption, Conrad. I think our experience at Wharton has been, and we've seen this backed up with research done both at McKinsey and TCS, is that the reason most business analytics projects fail, and most of them fail in terms of delivering value for the investment, is the lack of someone who stands between the management level and the practical level of data warehousing and application development. Someone who acts as a translator between the senior executives or those who have P&L responsibility at your firm, who have in their minds working hypotheses, a theory of their firm, of why in a mature or competitive marketplace, a customer would pick services and products from our company versus some of their competitors. There's a theory, a hypothesis around that question that only someone who is in a translator role can tease out by informing a question, shaping a question, so that data can actually be applied to check that hypothesis and see if it's actually true. We've gone through multiple unprecedented changes in our management of our firms and our economies over the last 3 years. First, putting large segments of our economy into a deep freeze, and now slowly defrosting components of the economy in a world that has learned a whole lot about managing supply chains, about communicating in manners that are not face-to-face, and in addressing a marketplace that is now entirely disrupted in the space of retail sales in a way that builds on disruptions that happened before COVID. So in all of these uncertain circumstances, the tried and true knowledge that informs the boss, that informs senior people at your organization, isn't so tried and true anymore, and requires exposure to what's the data really say. Something that may have worked 5 years ago for positioning your firm for success in a crowded field may not be working today. And if I can just use again one example of that in the retail space. at least in North America, we have seen extraordinary disruption to organizations who have large retail footprints in suburban shopping malls and in cities around the country who have found themselves facing bankruptcy. Names like Sears and Neiman Marcus and many other big box stores are in trouble. And yet, in the midst of all of this chaos, you see these extraordinary rising stars, like, for example, Lululemon and Trader Joe's and Sephora, who are actually rapidly growing in the same retail space that has seen such devastation. What we are seeing at Wharton in studying these successes are organizations that have learned how to apply data to inform an omni-channel retail strategy. And that kind of work can't be done by the wizened, gray-haired, here I am, I got a lot of gray hair myself, wizened, old, gray-haired leadership of the organization, nor it can be handled by the young Turks who are fresh out of engineering school and ready to crank up those Tableau systems for creating beautiful data charts. It takes someone in the middle, someone who understands the value of Tableau and of other ways to represent data and to extract data and to gather data, along with someone who can talk to the C-suite executives and extract the underlying assumptions behind the decisions they make on a daily basis. That's what McKinsey identified as the critical role in a successful business analytics project. And as I say, TCS did as well. So that's where we're trying to shape this course, is for in between those two positions, Conrad. So it is intended to look practically at who's succeeding, but we're hoping to have a conversation around how this success may or may not apply to your context, and what it is that's needed in a sense of organizational capacity, both in your IT space and in your training space and in your investment in cloud-based services to test those hypotheses in this new emergent uncertain world that we're all living in at the moment. So
Right.
you rely on real world business case studies, and the professors will be bringing to the table are people who are, getting their hands dirty every day in this space. This course isn't about teaching R, but everyone I think who's teaching in this from the Wharton School in this course uses R and a whole variety of different data tools for extracting information from unstructured data in their regular research. As I say, R is the preferred tool at Wharton, but there are many, many tools. This isn't the issue isn't tools, and the issue isn't data. The issue is extracting intelligence from data.
Yep. That also and touched on it and brings us to discussing why the Wharton School is the best choice for engaging in this investigation of AI.
And yeah, I can
Please
speak
do.
a little bit to that from the point of view of a market positioning that our dean Erica James is interested in putting in the marketplace, so that people who might have the luxury of choosing between an education at Wharton or Stanford or Harvard or INSEAD or ISB, Singapore Management University, all these great schools around the world, why would you ever be interested in engaging with the Wharton School or sending your son and daughter to an MBA program in a place like Wharton? And I think the answer to that, or one of the answers to that, is the fact that Wharton, on a scale of being poetic to being quant-oriented, and I use those terms because of a kind of a famous MBA blog that helps people pick MBA schools to go to earlier in their career that's called Poets and Quants. And on one end, one could point to Harvard as being the most poetic, I think, of the classic big-name business schools, in that their engagement with cases and with senior leadership around the world in intimate conversations around what succeeded in their careers is extraordinary and wonderful and a great experience. That's not this course. That's not what Wharton does. What we do is focus on metrics and data and financial models and projections and the empirical truth of what's going on. So to give you a flavor of that, when the Wharton School was founded in 1881 as the first business school that was based around a college or university in the world, that was sort of an invention in 1881 by Joseph Wharton and his work with some of the economists and lawyers who were working at the University of Pennsylvania at the time to build out what was going to become the curriculum for undergraduate business degrees and then later for MBAs. In those days, there was a great deal of engineering happening around canals and waterways in the North American continent, which were critical infrastructure for the growth of this sort of second industrial revolution that was happening in North America at the time. And one of the major projects, of course, was the effort to connect the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans through the Panama Canal. Well, the government of Teddy Roosevelt turned to Wharton professors to help understand the forecasts, financial modeling, and P&L projections around this extraordinary engineering feat called the Panama Canal. And he turned to Wharton School faculty for helping inform those decisions around how charges and tariffs were being developed for shipping. Because we had studied similar activity in the North American canals, the Erie Canal systems that connected the Northeast, for example. So we've been involved with big data and deep into understanding forecasting and predictive modeling since the 19th century. And then through the 20th century, Wharton was the campus where the concept of life insurance took shape. The idea that you could put a dollar value on a person's life and develop financial security systems for that, the value of that life. That you could look at the entire functioning of an economy as a series of sectors who could be measured to develop outcome metrics like gross national product. All of that work was done at the Wharton School. The development of marketing science, largely accomplished by the work of Paul Green, some of the work around conjoint analysis done in the 1960s, that moved marketing from being a largely creative exercise, again, a poetic exercise, to a metrics-driven approach to understanding what works in marketing and what doesn't. So it's been a long history, almost 150 years, of being deeply involved with the application of data. That is the reason why I can confidently tell you that I think of all of schools who put programs of study together for you to look at, if what your driving need is associated with the kinds of examples we've been trying to describe, the application of large data sets studied and analyzed using state-of-the-art tools to inform real-world decisions that are being made on a daily basis, then I think the Wharton School is as well prepared as any partner you could find to help you in that exploration. But I will say it's an exploration. It's not a matter of settled science. It's not like we're teaching you calculus. We're exploring together as a community of inquiry a topic that is what we consider to be both emergent, unsettled science, and critically important. Those are the topics that draw attention from the 250 members of the standing faculty at the Wharton School, from whom we draw to present this class.
Great. That puts it in a So I hope that gave you an appreciation of the value of Wharton, value that Wharton brings to this investigation, this kind of education in what AI can do for businesses from the managerial perspective. You do not have to have any prior knowledge or experience in programming or math. This is not a technology course, and we had a couple of questions coming in about that. I'll discuss that in the Q&A, but this is a program more oriented towards C-suite executives, senior managers, mid-level managers, consultants, people who need to understand how AI can be applied in business from a slightly bigger picture perspective. So with that, I'm going to ask a question before we get to questions. C-suite executives, senior executives, business leaders and managers and leaders who want to increase their own capabilities. So if you're looking to understand how you can improve the operation of your business applying AI technology, or how you can become a stronger manager by understanding applications of AI, this is a great program for you. And with that, I will ask this poll question. Oops. What level of your career are you currently in? Are you currently a student, or are you early in your career, or are you more senior? So let's let this open for about 15 seconds. I think the numbers have stopped changing, so I'm going to close it in 5 just to give you extra time. And here are the numbers. So more than 2/3 of our audience are more seasoned folks with 5 or more years of experience, with about a little less than 1/3 who are in the earlier phases of their career. So talk a little bit about how this program prepares you, what it consists of. So it consists of a 3-month program. It takes 4 main modules, 5 main modules, I'm sorry. The first one is Foundations of Big Data, AI, and Machine Learning, to give you a kind of grounding in the terminology, the technology, what the principles are. Again, not reliant on you understanding mathematics and programming, but to give you the kind of background that allow you to understand what is possible with AI technology and machine learning technology today, what big data is, and where the information and insights can be found in it. Then we move on to the 4 modules. First, in marketing, looking at AI case studies in the marketing world. Moving on to AI in the finance domain. Then AI in human resource management. And the last module, very important, is ethics and governance. Factors that you need to consider when looking to apply AI within your organization, so that you do it in a positive way and don't open your organization to liabilities. Because again, along the way, you have master classes that you can take with Wharton faculty in addition to the discussion sessions, and you earn a certificate from Wharton Online Executive Education. You will learn from a host of Wharton faculty who will present different topics in the different modules. Professor Hasnagar is operations information, as is Professor Liu and Professor Tambe. They'll talk about the use of AI in various operational aspects across the different areas of marketing, finance, and HR. Professor Capelli and Professor Bidwell will be talking more about HR, Professor Roberts about the finance aspects, Professor Engar about the marketing module, and Professor Werbach, very important, will talk about legal, ethical, and governance issues. These are the people who will be facilitating the discussion and bringing out the case studies and helping you to present your use cases for your organization and how AI might be applicable to those. I'm going to share with you this gentleman who will talk about the actual online learning environment. So he's going to describe one of our partner programs with another university, but this will give you an idea of what it is like to use the online learning environment.
Welcome to Simplilearn and our unique online bootcamp where millions of professionals have gotten the skills they need to succeed. There are two components that make our online bootcamp approach so successful. Great content from the world's leading technology companies, practitioners, and universities, and a unique and proprietary learning environment that was specifically designed for high engagement and learner support. When you log into Simplilearn, you set the course timeline that meets your busy work and home schedule and keep track of your progress every step of the way. We'll help you stay on plan with automated and 24/7 human support. At the core of our programs are our live virtual classrooms where you interact real time with trainers that are recognized leaders in their field. There, you'll review key concepts, get questions answered, and interact with your peers.
The important reports on the audience, if you notice, are demographics. This is super useful, especially if you're running ads, for example. You could do it on social media. Later, you'll learn social media marketing too. By looking at these numbers, you'll be able to understand the age range of people that you should be targeting. You know what? You could just focus only on that age category, show your advertisements to them. Very useful.
That's not all. You get to learn from faculty at global universities and industry experts via masterclasses. Ask your questions to top industry leaders in exclusive Ask Me Anything sessions.
So there's another interesting question on the chat box and say that to optimize in YouTube, you could use the rising section of Google Trends and optimize it. Okay, so let's go back to here, right here where it says web searches, and you can see that there's going to be the YouTube searches, okay? So now you can see that the YouTube searches is going to be, so there's a option under not just web search, and there's going to be a YouTube search, okay? So just go ahead and click on YouTube search, and you should be able to optimize your search results.
So what is in-stream ads? In-stream ads refer to when we come across any sort of original video, in-stream ads would appear within those video content. So you would be paused when you are watching an original video and lead to a video ad, and then go back to the original video content.
We believe people learn best by doing. Go beyond practice. Tackle practical problems with multiple projects and simulations, and work on a real-world capstone project that you can showcase to future employers. Your learning isn't restricted to just live classes. Explore our highly effective self-learning videos and other resources to fine-tune your learning and remain up to date always. You can focus on different learning approaches by subject to personalize the overall learning experience to your learning style and needs. At the end of it all, you get to walk away with globally recognized certificates from top universities for the program, leading companies for specialized courses, and Simplilearn. So, come on in, experience professional learning like you've never done before. Get started today.
So that that was just to give you an idea of what the online learning environment is. Of course, the nature of this program won't have a lot of projects, no coding exercises, that type of thing, but it will have the live interaction and discussion assessments. You can see the tools that you have for managing your progress through the program. So with that, I'm going to ask, based on what you've seen so far, are you interested in enrolling in the program? And we'll leave this open for just about 15 seconds or so, since it's a yes or no question. I'm going to close it in about 5 seconds. All right. And the poll. And about 80% of our audience are interested in enrolling, so I'm going to share with you how that works. Enrollment steps are very straightforward. Because we are the delivery partner for Wharton, you email us at askus@simplilearn.net. Put that information into the chat so that you can have that email at your fingertips. Putting into the chat the program page through which you can get more information about the program and contact us, and also the direct email address. That's in the chat box now. So we will review your match to the program prerequisites, your level of interest and aptitude for this particular program to make sure that you're committed to succeeding in it, and we'll send you the email with your admission offer. The next program, actually, the next cohort starts today. It probably is a little bit late for you to get started on that, but we will have another one coming up in March. And the cost of this is $3,000 flat, including taxes. Ask your employer about tuition reimbursement if this is something that is for your current job responsibilities. Your employer may defray some or all of the cost. That's their policy. And for more information about how to enroll, more specifics, ask us at simplilearn.net. For those of you who said you were interested, I'm curious to know if this is something that you want to do right away or are looking to do further down the road. I'll bet if you contacted us immediately, we could get you into that February cohort starting today. Leave this open for another 5 seconds. So about 40% of our respondents said they would like to do this starting within the next couple of months, either immediately or the March, April timeframe. And the rest of you are looking further down the road. In either case, I would strongly recommend you contact us at askus@simplilearn.net. If you're looking further down the road, we'll keep you in touch with you and advise you on future cohorts. Right now, I'm going to start taking your questions that have been coming in. Just a moment. Daniel asked for more examples and use cases. It's a good question for the folks at the learning consultants that ask us at simplilearn.net may be able to help you with more specifics of the use cases beyond what Don mentioned in his remarks. The length of the course is 3 months. Look. And your time commitment during that is about 3 to 5 hours a week, which includes the live interaction in the seminars, the live discussions and master classes. And some of the material will be pre-recorded preparatory material that you'll watch in between on whatever schedule, whatever time frame you want. The platform is available to you 24/7. And you can ask the learning consultants what the actual timings are in terms of what hours they hold the live sessions each week, to either evenings or weekends. A question here from Face to Face. Impact of Chat GPT and Bard on businesses. So that's a great question that you would want to ask during this course, but how will different corporations use it? Will corporates control access? I think one of the interesting things about these tools is many of them are open, not necessarily open source, but certainly open to different applications and uses. So it's going to be difficult for any particular corporation or entity to control where and how they're used. And that brings up certain ethical issues. We've all heard about the questions about whether it's ethical to use Chat GPT to write your exam papers for a master's degree or that type of thing. So this is going to be an important topic of discussion. And how would you use this type of technology in order to improve your operational workflow? We had a question about using AI in content marketing. So will, for example, Chat GPT be able to generate content more efficiently? What will that do to the role of human content writers, copywriters, and such? How will, the question specifically asked about Google ranking, and how will things like Chat GPT interacting with Google's ranking algorithms create feedback loops that will cause rapid content slewing to chase higher rankings and things like that? That will be part of I think, the discussion in the marketing module, because that's an important topic. Will the course touch base on AI and creative decisions and strategies, and legal aspects for AI? So on the legal aspect, certainly there's a module on legal implications, ethical implications, governance. That's an important aspect of this program. And then AI and creative decisions will be part of, I think, the discussion in terms of the marketing module about how AI can help you create marketing campaigns and that type of thing. So moving back to the other questions. I can't answer the question about it, what percentage of the course curriculum will focus on content marketing and so forth, but I can say that of the 5 modules, one of them is devoted to marketing. So to the extent that you want to bring up those topics in that module and discuss that with the professor of marketing, that